the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is, of course, a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today here on Freedom of Thought. So, yeah, this one's going to be a little bit, it's like on topic, off topic, whatever it is, but I guess on topic in a lot of ways, because you'll notice I changed the logo again. So just kind of telling you what's going on there. It's the same idea, obviously, kind of like walking in a forest, kind of like mysterious look, maybe some kind of a foggy mistiness to it. The other one, see, like the background was outstanding. I kind of thought the font looked more like Friday the 13th a little bit, which I thought maybe might be a little bit off-putting to potential listeners that might have seen the logo. They think it looks a little weird, or it's like sending people in a different direction a little bit, like, oh, I'm going to talk about horror stories, creepy stuff that happens in forests. It's like, not necessarily. So it's more of, well, obviously, you could kind of say it's kind of like a Narnia vibe in a lot of ways, obviously, because, and at the same time, still going to be political at times as well. I'm still what you'd classify a conservative Christian, 100%. I mean, that hasn't changed at all. And obviously, again, I certainly don't want to see the current president back in office 5 minutes after, like whenever the next inauguration day coming up is. So in 2025. So that's the thing. So that obviously hasn't changed. We'll get political here and there, but not as much as maybe like the first year or so of the show. As kind of by the second year, I started branching into other type of topics. Again, like it's kind of like this logo, you'll notice it's kind of taken on more of a, you could say Lord of the Rings, Narnia, Legend of Zelda, whatever the heck, but probably Narnia is a better way to go in a lot of ways because, well, as you'll notice, I've gotten into conversations about, say, like, Nephilim giants, Rephaim giants, and that's all biblical. That's all biblical. It's not Greek mythology and stuff like that. But also, interestingly enough, a lot of that mythology does branch into these small g gods and such, where they actually are fallen angels. So it's kind of stuff like that, where it's kind of got a Narnia vibe. So we're going to, obviously, that's something I've been talking about getting into for the longest time. So that's, again, the purpose of the change of the logo, because, again, it probably looked a little bit more like, again, Friday the 13th a little bit, which again, it's not really where we're heading with this show. It never really was. It was a cool look for a minute, but then I was thinking, that, again, the font is probably a bit off-putting. I would have liked to have recovered the background and maybe simply changed the font, but I couldn't find the original background for that one. But then I was able to come around this amazing looking background that, at least in my opinion, with kind of a firefly look, because I'm very much into fireflies. In fact, I'm even looking at some right now here in Golden Valley, Minnesota. I'm actually seeing fireflies flashing as it's that time of year again. So it's kind of like, fireflies in the forest, and it's kind of a little, your mind just wanders, and it still has that misty look. My friend Paul, he said he likes the misty look more. Yes, so in case he's listening, of course, hello. And because I know he's listened to episodes many times in the past, it still has a misty look. At least I think it does, at least from what I can tell. I mean, that's what I was kind of going for, kind of a misty woods and mysterious woods look. And then, of course, this Zelda Narnia-ish like font. It's a cool look. Unfortunately, so it's like a little tiny bit of investing as well to be able to even get that type of font and that type of look, because of so I had to sign up for like a pro account with Pixar, so kind of a way to go with that, PixArt, so to speak, to be able to get the logo completed and actually be able to use it on a show rather than it just kind of sitting there telling me you need this, you need this, you need this. So that's kind of what's going on there. And little things like that is where donations could come in handy to again improve the show, develop the show. Obviously, eventually I'm going to need a new microphone. The thing's been damaged for a while. It still works, but that's on in studio and such. So again, really appreciate all of you so much and your patience with this show. And it's kind of semi rebranding along the way. It's kind of like rebranding, yet at the same time, again, we're staying with the roots of the show as well. Again, how it started kind of a political show, and that's going to still be there, just not all the time, off and on. It kind of depends on what's been going on and such, and then also the time I have to research some of these other topics and such as well to give you an actual good product and potentially guests as well. Obviously, I've talked about guests coming on in the past that I would really like to have on the show. Possibly the guy from Giants of Ancient America. Obviously, that's one I need to get around to that, of course, one of these days. Dave Reinhardt to talk about those giant monoliths in the ocean. I mean, he could go on forever about that. So that could be a fascinating episode. Paul to talk about the guy I just mentioned. Paul to talk about the Mandela effect. It's a two-way street when it comes to getting guests on. I can ask somebody, but maybe they're not available, or at this time, but maybe they're available at that time, and this and that, and you got to work it out. And sometimes I need to, get off my butt and actually conversate with people as well. It's easier said than done, obviously, with tight schedules on both sides. So it just kind of is what it is. But, again, it's kind of a perfect setting again. As you notice, like I was talking about on the logo, how you can see the fireflies. And Jessica Eiler, who follows Freedom of Thought on Instagram, mentioned that she really likes the fireflies. And looking at fireflies right now, flashing literally right in front of me as I'm talking here in Hampshire Park in Golden Valley, Minnesota. You can see them kind of in these tall weeds, the cattails as they call them. These sprouted up quickly. There was like hardly anything here. It feels like just a couple weeks ago. And it looks like summer now. Boom, it's summer, just like that. And boom, here come the fireflies as well. What I'm seeing mostly is the females, which hide into the tall weeds. And they're the stationary ones flashing the light. The ones you see flying around are the males looking for the females. So unfortunately, it's mostly females, though. Wish we had that problem, right? No, growing up, right? When we were young, when we were young, we wish we had that problem. Like it was mostly females. It always felt like there was way more guys than girls in like school and such. So it always seemed that way, didn't it? So that's kind of how that is. But, you got to have the male and the female. Otherwise, we're going to run out of fireflies pretty soon here. So, come on, guys, get to work. No, I'm just seeing the females flashing. But it has that Christmas light effect. in a lot of ways. And when they get in sync, when they synchronize, it is the coolest looking thing ever. How it's just they all kind of flash at the same time. It's so cool when that happens. Or like a millisecond, one after the other, that type of thing. It's absolutely amazing. I think part of the problem here is it's been really windy, and fireflies don't really like that very much. So they're kind of hoping and waiting for maybe the guy to come, but maybe the guy's like, it's a little windy right now, so we'll see. It'll be hard to kind of, the flight patterns will be a little bit tougher here. A little bit of air turbulence in my flight, looking for my mate in these tall weeds. Might be the conversation there. So, pardon me, but I guess that's freedom of thought as well, going off into la la land here with fireflies. But it's part of the logo, and when you see fireflies in the logo, I mean, it makes me happy and made me smile. My favorite bug in the world is a firefly. So, back in a firefly, lightning bug, whatever you want to call them, but it's absolutely a part of why I chose that logo. I hope you like it. Please let me know. Tell me how you feel about it. Would be appreciated in a big way. It's I put a little, it's like, you put some work into it, you're hoping for the best, you're hoping that people like it, and then it can also attract new listeners like, oh, that looks cool, that looks interesting, and oh, look at the subject matter, pretty cool. So that's kind of the next step here when it comes to freedom of thought, and it's slow but sure rebranding that's been going on forever here now, for months at the end of the day. Again, so just want to thank all of you for listening to the show. Please, again, tell your friends about it. Apologize if I'm a little bit short on major topics at the moment, but again, just announcing in a lot of ways. I mean, I have plenty of topics, yes, but coming out today mostly to let you know the reason for the change of the logo and all of that. So again, don't want to send people thinking that they're looking for Camp Crystal Lake here, at the end of the day. That's what it kind of looked like. In a lot of ways with the font of the previous logo. The background was fantastic, but the font not so much, and it's just a weird fit. Again, it may have been a little bit off-putting, so we'll see how people think about this one. Let me know if you can. Obviously, the Facebook page, facebook.com, 1776. Twitter or X is Freedom of Thought 7. Now I'm blanking. What is it? I believe it's 7. Oh, Freedom of Thou 76. That's what it was. Again, the Facebook page, Freedom of Thought 1776. Facebook.com, Freedom of Thought 1776. The Instagram is freedom_of_thought 1776. So, and again, it's all in the show description as well to make it faster. Instead of just listening to me say it incorrectly, you'll be able to get to it right away that way, via copy and paste or anything like that. And of course, we're on YouTube as well. Mostly, again, it is podcast form on YouTube. So it could be either YouTube podcast app, which exists now, or just YouTube itself if you really want to play it as a video, even though you're just seeing the logo of the episode. And in this case, the show episode will be the new logo. Generally speaking, it's not going to be like, Abraham Lincoln when I talked about the Lincoln Ghost, stuff like that. So you're going to just have the main logo here as the logo for this particular episode. And again, just want to really thank all of you for listening. I believe this is episode 86. So this is now the third logo that I put for this show. If you superly badly want me to revert back to the previous logo, the second one, we'll do that. The first one, again, was the American flag with kind of a teal color, Freedom of Thought. So the teal color is back because it blends in great with this new one. Again, this Narnia-ish, Legend of Zelda-ish, King Arthur-ish like forest font, King Arthur-ish type font in the forest. The teal color basically has returned now, so it's kind of ironic how that all turned out. It kind of came back 180 in that, or came back full circle, excuse me, it's a better way to put it in that sense. So it's an interesting way to look about it. The American flag, obviously great. It's the greatest flag in the world. It's the greatest country in the world. And it's a country we want to protect, obviously, from communism that has been on the rise. And that's very much what I stand against. while doing the show in every form. So it's not like just because I took the American flag off the logo as it being the logo itself. It's just kind of like, it's kind of not a real creative logo if it's just a flag with fonts on it. So I figured let's have something a little more creative, and that's where all this kind of went at the beginning of the day anyway. So I think I've rambled on and on and on and on enough about logos and such. Just again, thank you again for your patience with how things have been going. Again, super busy, tight schedules of late. So we'll be back with something hopefully interesting to talk about coming into the next episode, which I would believe is number 87. Until next time, thank you so much. Take care, and God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.